All right, and welcome everybody. This is Christian Road, and I want to welcome you to the Media Circus Marketing Agency Local Leads Accelerator Program. This is something that I've typically only presented to live audiences in the past, and I had thought, you know what? Why don't I get this recorded and get this off as a bonus to anybody that has attended, number one. And then number two, for all the people that couldn't make it. So I just want to offer as much value as I possibly can, and get this off in as many hands as I possibly can, as I really do believe that as the economy becomes a little bit more difficult, as local business owners, hey, we need all the help that we can get, right? So I just want to offer this as a piece of that. So who am I, right? And basically, why should you listen? Like I said, my name is Christian Road. I am in Kelowna, British Columbia, husband, father of two. And I have been in the business coaching, if you will, business strategy, and in the ads game, primarily focused on Facebook for about the last 9 years. I'm a certified platinum business coach with Focus.com. I'm a ClickFunnels certified funnel builder, which just means I paid Russell Brunson a whole pile of money for him to show me how to build proper sales funnels. I've managed over $5 million of ad spend on Facebook. I'm a graduate of the Big Money Marketer program through Wake Up Warrior Garrett J. White, who I believe is one of the leading, mentors for myself when it comes to marketing strategy. And I'm a marketing strategist. So there you go. So today's game plan is actually quite simple. Give you a roadmap, right? In terms of your sales and marketing and how you can increase the number of leads coming into your business and also helping you convert them. I'm going to go off script and tell a few stories along the way. So I hope I do not bore anyone too much with that. So with further ado, let's get into it. So when it comes to business growth and development, there's really only five main areas that we need to focus on. Okay. Leads, conversions, transactions, pricing, and profits. And our whole objective, it's not to make massive claims. It's not to go crazy when it comes to one specific area. And I know that's where a lot of, especially lead gen marketing agencies really like to focus. And that's not how I operate. That's not how Media Circus we operate. We take a very holistic approach. And I know that that word is out there a lot, but the reality is, and this is one thing I learned pretty quick, the only thing business owners truly give a shit about is making sales, right? Like that's it. Like any marketing agency can promise you a million different things, but the reality is, unless you take the lead and you convert it into cash and make the sale and turn them into a client, what's the point? So I know it's a rather simplistic approach, but this is what I believe. And this is what I think is what is most important. So that said, yes, there's five main areas that I'm going to tap into today. And let's just jump right into the first one, which is leads, obviously. So I mentioned that one of my mentors, Garrett J. White, believes in something called strategic seduction. So there's six main points here, and I'll just run through them quickly. So the number one thing that we have to learn to do is to communicate our message, right? We need to be able to communicate our message in such a way that people will pay attention, which will then lead them to wanting to raise their hand, allowing us to then capture permission. So when I say capture permission, now I am getting the permission to work with them, to interact with them, to have a conversation with them. Once I have that, now it is up to me to convert their mindset. Obviously, there is in the coaching space, it's more so like it's as a business coach, as an example, there's where you are today, and then where you want to be, and there's clearly a gap. When it comes to home service providers, it's a lot more transactional, but at the same time, whether it's a painting job, right? Like if painting exterior and interior of a house, whether you're doing a bathroom renovation, whether you are building a pool, whatever your industry is, there is the before and the after, and then the in between is where we need to make sure that they are converted in their mindset to believe that you are in fact the solution that they are looking for. Okay. Once we got that, hey, what do we need them to do? Take action. right? We need them to move forward and to want to do that, to accept the quote, to say, yes, you're the business that I want to work with, and then obviously close that commitment through a contract of some kind, and then obviously collect cash. Now, when I say collect cash, I'm not going to lie, I feel silly even saying it. But when I work with a lot of small businesses, I'm truly amazed at how few ways they have of accepting cash from their clients. So, there's, and we got to be careful. And I'm very cognizant of the fact of credit card processing fees and everything else. Okay. There's solutions around this. And this is one thing that I truly believe in. I've worked locally here in Kelowna with the Kelowna Comedy Club. And we were actually just switching up their payment processor, because, man, some of these guys are brutal, right? So what we're doing is we're actually, just by switching to actually a Vancouver-based company, we're going to save him $6,600 a year in processing fees from a comedy club. He was paying upwards of 10%, right, per ticket sale, which is, in my mind, beyond unacceptable. Anyways, I digress. So let's keep going. So when it comes to marketing, there's really, I subscribe to Dan Kennedy's market message media. Those are sort of the three primary things that we need to focus on when we're talking marketing. And so let's dive into market. So who is the market, right? Who is your ideal client? When I say that, I can tell you with the utmost certainty that 90+% of people are not very specific when it comes to who their ideal client actually is. Now, this could be, again, if you're a service provider, we could say, I'm thinking of a painter right now. Okay. So my painting client, he is a stucco specialist. So stucco is that's his primary. It's not just where um he knows it the best, but it's also where he has the best margin inside of his business. Because the thing is, your ideal client, you can't just look at it from, hey, who do I enjoy working with the most? Well, there is that element, granted, but at the same time, if you're not profitable, if you're not making enough margin, then you probably are likely going to get resentful, but you're not going to be able to deliver as much as you'd like to. So the last thing you want to do is cut corners when it comes to delivering your service or product to your clients. So we do something called empathy mapping and avatar mapping. And that just simply means we're going to get into the heads and the minds of our ideal clients. So we're going to find out exactly who they are. And that is obviously all the demographic and then also the psychographic, which is the biggest piece. And once we move beyond that, now I want to know what they hear, what they see, what they say, what they're thinking, all of it. So think of it this way. When you throw out an ad, how different is it from your competitors? Like, is it different or are you sounding exactly the same? Now, this coming from a guy who spent 16 years in financial services, where we are the epitome of everyone sounding exactly the same. Like, we're just parrots, right? That's all we are. It's quite pathetic. But anyways, and this honestly, it sounds so boring, but this is what separates good campaigns from bad campaigns every single time. If you put the work in on this front end piece, I promise you, your marketing will be much, much more successful. So once we have that clear, again, what are you saying and when are you saying it? So I use something called milestone mapping. Okay. So that is, I don't want to pick on the painter guy too much. Let's pick on a bathroom contractor. Okay. So from when the lead comes in to when you walk away from the job is like it's done, a job well done, walk me through every single step in between. And what does that look like? Right. So what I do is I will take a look at situations and say, okay, so what are the biggest fears and challenges that people have in that? And then I'll go, okay, so how can I address those? Like when it comes to renos, one of the biggest problems that we always hear, well, A is um, there's the guys that just have no credibility and they give everybody a bad rep. but it's a big disturbance, right? And that's the big piece that I think a lot of people forget about is how much of a disturbance it is to a household, how messy it can be, all that stuff. It's no different than window installations and things like that. How long will it take? How much of a mess is it going to be? How much are we going to be inconvenienced? So then what I do is I walk through every single step. Now imagine if you're communicating every single step before it happens to your client. And now what if you had video testimonials of people talking about along each step, right? Like, hey, how was the demo? Well, did we do a good job? Was it clean? Was it tidy? How can we improve? So you can either choose to use it as a tool to get better, or you can use it as an actual testimonial and put that testimonial in front of people who are on the think about it plan, right? I think that is a very, very clever way of getting people to get over that fence of making a decision. So there's a lot more that goes into it. I really believe in video testimonials because video we can chop up. Obviously, videos are powerful when you can retarget ads to people that are thinking about it. And again, who else is talking about the big pain points and objections? Nobody. That's who, right? So be the one that stands out. Now, where are you saying it? So obviously, when it comes to online platforms, there's no shortage of places where you can advertise. Again, local newspapers and yellow pages used to be the go-to. Those have gone to the wayside. I'm going to work backwards here from my list. LinkedIn, absolutely hate it. Um, I haven't like I'm sure there's people having great success with it. Again, it's a lot of B2B and small business typically is not B2B, it's B2C. You're straight to consumer, right? Straight to the customer. And LinkedIn is bloody expensive. So YouTube is fantastic later on. Okay. That is not one that you start with. Your biggest ones that you start with are Google pay-per-click, Google guaranteed if available in your area, for sure. And then obviously getting a ton of Google reviews, which all help the algorithm and put you higher in the rankings. And of course, Facebook. A lot of people will like to crap all over Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. My parents are on Facebook, right? Like it's the it's the big daddy when it comes to social media. Like just keep that in mind. Facebook is a different beast though, right? In terms of how you have to use it. And that's the primary difference. When it comes to Google, yeah, it's all keywords and things like that. And that's a battle and a half in itself, where you are like just trying to outbid everybody with the same keywords. In Facebook, it's a little bit different. Like you truly need to trigger people and get their attention. So, but when it comes to Facebook, because again, this is my specialty, this is where I thrive. It just comes down to a few things. So there's always three different stages, right? In Facebook, there's actually more than three options. I believe it's five or six now. They've added one recently. Um, in terms of where you want to be. So when I say top versus bottom of funnel, just actually picture an actual funnel. It's very narrow at the bottom, right? So that is where you're going to have the least amount of people. Whereas at the top, it's a very broad reach. So that's where at Facebook, if you run an awareness campaign, right? And this is where a lot of people, they all go to conversion campaigns or lead campaigns. They spend 20, 25 bucks a day, and then they tell me that their campaigns don't work. Well, no kidding. These numbers that you're seeing here are directly from Facebook, right? This is what my ad guys at Facebook is telling me. You got to spend 100 to 200 bucks a day to be relevant on a conversion sales campaign. 75 for leads, 30 for traffic, and $5 a day for awareness. Now, awareness is broad. Like it's going out to a whole pile of people. But what you can do, and this is getting a little bit ahead of myself, I believe it's going to be the next slide here, is I use the Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V sort of strategy, right? He has the benefit of having millions of followers. Sadly, we do not. So what do we need to do? Well, what we can do is we can put what we are perceiving to be some bigger pain points out to on short videos, probably I would say 30 to 90 seconds, maybe 120. And I would put out like say five or six different ones and then just see what your view rates are. Because you can actually see how many people are viewing 25, 50, 75, 100%. And then that will tell you what people like, what's piquing their interest. And then you can obviously retarget them and put something else in front of them, right? So obviously, the narrower you get with Facebook, the more expensive it's going to be. That's kind of a no-brainer. It's one-on-one stuff. Again, when it comes to Facebook, you got to know your audience. So know the people that you are targeting specifically. One of the biggest challenges, depending on where you are. So obviously I'm in Kelowna. I've mentioned that a few times. So Kelowna is tricky because we're still a small city, right? So what happens in a smaller city is you cannot, like, there's a sort of a sweet spot in terms of the number of people that you want to get your ads in front of. Too small, it becomes irrelevant. And then it's just they see it too many times. So there is that. But when you're talking larger markets, if you're in a Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Seattle, LA, New York, whatever, you get the idea. Now you've got volumes where you can actually target specific audiences. I'll give you a fantastic example of this. I was working with a meal prep service, and I remember during COVID, I was driving past sort of 2 blocks where the hospital was here, and I had this brilliant flash where I'm like, man, all these nurses are just getting off their shift. They're all wearing Hoka One shoes. Okay. So Hoka One, if you're a runner, you know what they are, but they're really thick soles. And obviously during COVID and anytime, like nurses, holy smokes, right? God bless them. Like the amount of time they spend on their feet is insane. So what I did is I started actually a campaign for the meal prep. And this was to people that liked Hoka One shoes. And the campaign was, you take care of everyone all day. Let us help you take care of your lunch. That campaign blew up. It was insane. So again, audiences are big. I mentioned retargeting already. Retargeting is people who have seen your stuff, people who have gone to your website, people who have gone to your landing pages, people who have worked with you sort of in the past. Then also another thing, if you have client lists, you can upload those into Facebook as well. And those Facebook will then kind of like, oh, okay, these people look, smell, and have the same behaviors as all of these people, right? So they'll create what they call lookalike audiences. And then you can break those down to the top 1%, 2%, and that goes all the way down. I wouldn't go beyond 4 or 5. But then again, if you upload like 100 to 200 names, you'll get a list of over 1 million people that look just like those people. And like anything, when it comes to, well, anything tech, setup is key. So making sure that your pixels, so basically your tracking, is all set up in your conversion events, right? So if I'm setting up a basic funnel, and I apologize if you don't know what a sales funnel is, that basically is you're going to see my ad. You're going to go, I'm going to send you to a specific landing page. From there, I might make you an offer to book an appointment with me, let's say. And then from there, I take you to a thank you for booking page. Obviously, those are all, each one would trigger an event. The event of the people that I want most are the people that made to the thank you page, and I'll work my way back. So it's like, hey, Facebook, send me more people that made to the thank you page, right? I want more people like that. The other big piece is for me, that's I think a massive oversight by a lot of agencies because there's so much smoke and mirrors out there when it comes to any sort of reporting. And that is just you understanding your KPIs, your key performance indicators. If you understand what those are, whether you choose to work with us at some point, whether you choose to work with any other agency, you need to know what to look for. You cannot afford in business for a bunch of people to sell you a bunch of hot air, right? That's just wasting money, and I freaking hate seeing it. It's one of the things I take extremely personal exception to is I treat everybody's ad campaigns as if it was my own ad spend. So I am very much aware of those metrics. So that said, all right, let's jump into it here. Okay, let's jump into a bit of a campaign that we'd worked on. This is an older campaign, so you have to excuse that, but and you'll understand when I at some point start throwing out, I wish I would have been a cosmetic surgeon, and you will too. All right, mummy makeovers. So this cosmetic surgeon was specializing in mummy makeovers and getting about 35 leads a month on about $6,000 of ad spend. Insane, right? Insane. But these guys make a heap of cash, so don't feel bad. This was the actual ad. Nurture the body that will provoke true envy. I don't need to tell you that that's horrific. Like that is a horrible ad. You've got a beautiful younger model, and like who are you talking to, right? Like what's the conversation that's actually happening in the head of your prospect? So here's the deal, right? Who's getting cosmetic surgery? Women 30 to 45. 30 is a stretch in my opinion. I would even say today it might be even older than 45. Just because people are having kids much later. I'd probably challenge this now and say 35 to 50 is a split test that I would love to run. 2 or more kids. Okay. You see the image. more relatable, number one. You want the body you had before you had kids? Now we're cooking, right? This ad now, we've identified our avatar and we've identified a major pain point, the result that they're after, right? So there's that. Now I always have to do a disclaimer on this slide. Yes, 1,143% increase. It's real easy when your ad sucks as bad as that one did for anyone to look good. Okay. And we'll get into this a little bit later. But I want to talk about downselling just for a minute here. All right. Downselling. Offering a prospect an alternative at a lower price from the decline your original offer. Okay. Whether or not you can actually do this, that's debatable. It really depends. It depends on, like, let's say business coaches. Maybe you don't do one-on-one. Maybe you can do group coaching, right? It's just a cheaper option. Personally, I believe group coaching is actually more beneficial, but that's just me. Anyways, so that's what you're looking at there. So what else can you sell? It's like selling the cheaper thing, right? Maybe you don't do the entire furnace. Maybe you don't do the entire whatever. Maybe you don't build the big pool this year, but maybe you get a hot tub. Like what is it that you can make somebody feel good about and still work with you, right? Like, is there an alternative? And people are always looking, typically, Apple's the prime example of this, for three options, right? Now, that said, the other big piece that a lot of people forget about is drip campaigns. So drip campaigns is following up, right? Less than 1% of prospects are now buyers. 99% are not ready to purchase that day, but they will buy in the future. But you got to stay in touch, right? So let's look at that for a second. Let's take a look at drip campaigns. So if this is accurate, 80% of all sales occur between the 5th and the 12th point of contact. I want you to think about this. And for all of my contractor, window replacement, painters, anybody that sells by quotes, let me ask you, how many times do you follow up? Because I know it's not enough. And I know why you don't. You don't want to be cheesy sales guy. You don't want to apply too much pressure. I get it, right? I get it. But what if you could just automate that? So you don't have to do it and we can approach it in a way with a gentle touch, right? I always look at it from this perspective. Most quotes are good for 30 days. So I'm going to push fairly hard for the first few days. Hey, I want to make sure they got it. So I'm going to follow up with an SMS, right? Hey, did you get that quote? I also challenge everybody to go deeper than just a standard quote. Like maybe do a video on how you came up with that quote, right? And all the thought that went into it. And so they can really get into that. Who else is doing that? Like nobody. And then once you get closer, again, if it's a 30-day expiry of that quote, once you get closer to the end of it, why not make one final push? See if they're still interested. And then why not offer them a discount? Right? I think of my painter client, and he offers a discount of 10% if you commit the day of the quote. Well, why not offer that on like the last week? Like, what do you got to lose? Nothing. So there's an opportunity there. So what is a drip campaign? It's something that automatically delivers a form of communication to customers or prospects on a predetermined and scheduled basis. That's it. So what software are you using? Again, I'm going to demonstrate possibly here. I use a software called Go High Level. It is, in my opinion, hands down, the best tool for any local business, period. Like, it's not even close. The amount of features that these guys are adding is insane. The automations that you can add are next level. So I can get into that. So again, let's get into this for a second. So this is another campaign that we changed. This is a child psychologist, and this simply was, are you sick and tired of the yelling, screaming, religion ads of your child? Pain point. Solution. Now you can discover the secrets to controlling your child, instantly restore peace and quiet in the home. Wow. Sell me some of that, please, right? So just a quick side note here. You can see this obviously is a little bit older, but where you see the first name and email. Okay, so typically I will always ask for a phone number as well. When you ask for more, typically for every new field that you add, you're going to lose about 20% opt-in. So 20% less people are going to want to do that. What you could do, and I'm seeing a lot more of it right now, name an email, they hit submit, and then something pops up requesting their phone number in exchange for something else. Fantastic. By the way, we changed this guy's offer a bit. 300 leads, 20% requested the offer, 10% consented. Average sale 800, 2,400 bucks per month increase. So almost 30 grand. So not bad, right? Not bad. But the main reason I want to bring this guy up is he's got 300 leads, he's getting 60 opt-ins, but he's only making 6 sales, right? So there's still 54 people there that have shown an expressed interest. They're just not ready to buy today. So let's be ultra conservative and say that just 2 of them come along for the ride the next month and 2 the following month. So what does that look like over the course of a year? All right, so here it is mapped out. I hope it's pretty straightforward, self-explanatory. So you've got 54. The next month, you got the new 54. And then from the other 50 from the month before, 2 of them became clients, right? So that's 52 now. So you keep going down over the course of 1 year. And now you've had 3,600 prospects. You got 156 clients. 72 clients just from the squeeze page, they were the landing page, right? And then the drip campaign. So 156 new clients that have never actually converted without that drip campaign. So I want you to think about that. Like, let's say, even if, okay, let's just, you take away a third of that, like you're still over 100 clients, right? So additional. So do you see the power of leveraging? And again, you have technology that you can utilize that can set all of this up for you, right? Now we're having a different conversation. Now I'm not talking to you about generating leads. Now I'm talking to you about how much can you actually handle? What is your capacity, right? So that's a big, big piece. Other drip campaigns, other automations. I'm all about automations. The more that we can use technology, and especially now with AI, there's so many AI beautiful features. Listen, I don't have time to be on social media every single day, but I know through high level that when somebody makes a comment on my Instagram, my Facebook, I've got AI automatically replying to them. Like, how insane is that? How awesome is that? Do you know that you can add a chatbot to your website and increase the conversions by over 356%? Like, that's insane just by having a chatbot. Come on. So, anyways, but when it comes to automations, SMS, please don't discount SMS, right? Text messages are still massive. The open rates are over 90%. Emails are less than 20, right? We all get so much spam email. Just stop, right? So that's a big one. The HVAC, so this is an Australian client of ours. And all we did was we set up a campaign to their existing customers. So it's not like some miraculous thing. But we sent it out at 5 p.m., woke up to over 200 booked appointments for the winterization, $220 per appointment. So it's 44 grand. Like, how nice is that, that you can just have automated things that just, maybe 3, 4 times a year, just sort of fill your calendar automatically. Like, that's pretty nice. I like to use the sprinkler blowout example as well. Obviously, when you're in a colder climate, your irrigation systems need to be blown out. Um, and typically where I am, we do that kind of mid to late October. But hey, guess what? Cold snaps happen. So what if you could put a webhook in to the weather app that maybe when the temperature dropped below 10 Celsius at night, um, minus 10, that it triggers automatically. Like if it's in the forecast, pardon me, 14 days out, it triggers an SMS automation to all of your existing clients to book in. Like, how nice would that be? And yes, guess what? There's actually software available that'll help you actually route all those people that you're not driving back and forth all over town. That, if you want more info on that, just let me know. So again, what could you do with an automated email and SMS campaign? Like, to me, there is a lot of magic inside of those. And the biggest magic, if I'm being honest here, is it's just not you doing it. Because we all know when it's left to us, stuff just falls through the cracks, and that sucks. So let's make sure that we can automate a lot of this stuff so you don't have to even think about it, right? Things are getting handled, and people are getting the amount of attention and the service that you would like them to get. All right, conversions, because they can get you all the leads that you want, but unless we actually convert them, it means a whole lot of nothing. So I mentioned it before, 90+%, I'm being generous here. Screw this up. Their compelling offer. Okay. The compelling offer is, what are they looking for and how can you quickly solve that for them? Right. Or what's I guess, a big enough deal that you can give somebody that they'll gladly give you their information. So I just did a campaign last month. Yeah, it was in the middle of summer, and which is typically not an ideal time. It was for a virtual reality studio. They're opening up their grand opening, and we got 110 leads in under 2 weeks. They had a great offer, 50% off your first play. Like, how do you not, right? And then now, what can we do? Well, shit, we can do a whole bunch of different offers to bring a friend for the extra discount, or bring 3 friends and get one additional free play, whatever. Like, there's so many other options and variables that you can throw in there to draw more people in. So just make sure when you have an offer, it is extremely compelling, because the problem is when you take a look at a lot of industries, and as somebody who spent 16 years in financial services, when I take a look at financial services, what does this scream to me? This screams like, oh, you want to get me on a phone call to sell me. No, thanks. No, I have zero desire for that. Same with chiropractors, right? It's like chiropractors and dentists. It's crazy that I lump those two together, because it's like, I love it when I drive down the street and I see a sign at a dentist accepting new patients. Well, that's fantastic. You guys are a dime a dozen. Give me something real of why I would want to deal with you, right? So there's that. And again, it's just understanding the buyer's journey, right? Understanding that less than 1% are ready to buy now. So the next level would then get to the soon to buy buyers. I guess I probably should maybe be soon to be buyers. I don't know. Anyways, and they're just dealing with objections. So again, coming back to the bathroom renovator, if one of my biggest objections is, man, I don't want to be put out for an extended period of time. Well, shit, if I can address that right away and have testimonials to back it up by video, hello, I'm pushing people over the edge. But the big, big, big opportunity lies in the future buyers. And this is where a lack of effort put into marketing really shows. Because if you can put in effort for people that haven't even considered it yet, or are just maybe starting the thought, you never have to worry about ever running out of business, right? That's massive. So back to our cosmetic surgeon friend, okay, specializing mommy makeovers. So again, quick recap, 35 leads, not doing anything. Yeah, surprise, surprise, running to a website. Please don't ever run your offers straight to your website. Too many distractions, too many things that they look, people are like goldfish, right? It's just we get distracted so easily. You need them to go to a specific website, landing page where there's nothing else on it. Like, it's just go here, give me your name, email, phone number, get the thing that I'm giving you, right? Like, that's all you want. Get them to take a specific action. In this case, it was a free eye-opening report, candid answers about mommy makeover surgeries. What are the risks? What are the benefits? Will it look natural? These are things that they're talking about. So, and again, this is an older campaign, like I said. So the the actual value piece is trash. Like, let's not kid ourselves. It looks terrible. We can get people from Fiverr. We've got people on our team that can handle this stuff for you as well, putting together your free reports. But this is what it was. You had zero conversions before. Guess what? After, with the report, 67% opted in. No kidding. Doesn't cost you anything. Why wouldn't you want to know? And then 8% actually converted. So again, we should have all been cosmetic surgeons, right? So 300 prospects per month, 201 new leads, 16 new patients at just shy of 20 grand per surgery. You're looking at an extra $300,000 per month of revenue. Yeah, I think I picked the wrong profession. But so you understand now how having the right offer and just talking to people in having that conversation of what's really going through their head, how important that is. And that starts at the ad set level. So pricing. Okay. We know the price of everything has gone astronomical the last few years. Okay. Has yours? Has yours changed? Because the biggest problem that I see with a lot of business owners is they don't increase their prices enough. You got to keep up because it's just costing you, right? You can increase your revenue or decrease your cost of doing business. And again, there's opportunities for that as well, right? As we head into an economic sort of downturn and tougher time, especially when it comes to commercial and retail space, you might have some flexibility to renegotiate your leases. So I would be looking at that. I would be looking at simple things such as, I'll give you a great example when it comes to inventory. Hair salons, okay? So if I ran a hair salon and I've got 10 different products, bring that down to two or three, maybe two. Now you're buying more, you're getting more buying power, right? Like now you're getting your cost of goods is now going down. So just little things like that. Again, easiest way, right, is to just to raise your price. So, okay, well, let's take a look at it because I know when I talk about raising prices, I scare a lot of people, right? So let's say you sell a product for $100 and you got 30% margin, okay? And you want to increase by 10% to 110. Okay. Small, relatively small increase, but everyone's scared they're going to lose customers, right? Do you really want them anyways if they're that like unloyal, if you will, right? No, probably not, right? The reality is, but let's take a look at the numbers of what this actually looks like. All right. So the extra $10, it's all profit, right? Your cost of goods is still the same. So 33% profit increase. So for your business to make 1,000 in profit, right? At $100 each, you need to sell 33.3. Cool. Increase that by 10%, you're down to 25. Okay, perfect. So 25, that means just to break even, you'd have to lose 25% of your customers for a 10% price increase. Like that's just not going to happen, right? It's just not. Again, like anything, test, right? Not that you want to push prices to an astronomical amount, right? You're not Galen Weston. So you're not the grocery guys. So that's for all my Canadians there. Anyways, but at the same time, the key to increasing your profitability is to offer more value than your competition, right? Prospects are always willing to pay twice the price if they believe they're receiving 4 times more value. You can add value in a lot of different ways that perhaps a lot of it can just come through better communication. It's crazy how many times I've seen that. So, anyways, when it comes to discounts, right? A lot of like 10%, that's sort of a non-starter for anybody, right? People want 40, 50%. But let's take a look at discounting just for a quick second here. Okay. So if I had a widget for $100 and now I'm gonna still got the same like 30% more profit margin, right? So you make $30 and now I'm gonna discount it, right? By 10%. So now I'm selling it for 90. Well, guess what? I'm still paying 70. My profit's now only $20 instead of 30. So for the business to make 1,000, again, it was 33.3. I discount. Now I gotta sell 50. Like that's 50% more widgets. Like think about this, right? Like just think about this. So, and again, what's 10% discount? People want 20 to 40%. And then you wonder why. They all sit there and go, why are we going broke? Well, that's why. It's a death spiral, right? Do not discount. So, like just stop that. It's just the biggest death spiral that we see in business is continuous discounting. Okay. All right. Last but not least, I really want to just talk about this. This is if you've been in groups like say BNI as an example, they call them power groups, I believe it is. Anyways, we call this an event chain. I pick on the wedding industry because it is the most clear and easy to understand. Because when there's a wedding, there's a very clear sequence of events of things that happen. So not all of them are this clear and this obvious, but just be aware of this as this is a pretty big deal. So obviously there's an engagement ring that's bought, then the planner, the church, the chapel, the reception, the wedding dress, the flowers, the cake, like it's just blah, 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 right? All I'm seeing is dollar signs here. So, but this is how it works. So if not, let's say we're going to pick on the florist here, right? Like, let's say you're the florist. So everyone above you is perfectly positioned to actually refer business to you. And then everyone below you is ready to receive them from you. So if you could obtain one from everyone above you and send one to everyone below you, and let's say that your price is 3 grand, right? And you got one from everyone above you, it's an extra 36 grand a year. Like for those of you at home taking math points here and adding up the numbers, it's easy to add another $100,000 of revenue to your business, by the way, if you're paying attention. And now if you're just getting a 10% referral free from everyone below you, it's $3,600 from one referral, right? So let's keep that in mind. So there's opportunity when it comes to event chains. So think about that for your industry. What else are they doing before and or after? Are they doing a renovation for what? Right. And maybe it's not direct, maybe it's indirect, right? So there's a lot of other things that can happen. Um, I also wanted to just quickly jump on downsells and it's funny because people like to have people commit prior to them actually being ready. So again, you could sell a 1 year membership to a gym. Well, how about a 90-day health makeover, right? The caution that I have, again, 1 week free trial is risky. The numbers show when it comes to app stuff and like software, there's no difference between 14 and 30 days. But when you're talking like say weight loss, right? A gym, it just takes a certain amount of time for people to see a result, right? People get into the habit. The example I always use, I joined a golf course just outside of Vancouver. They had it was a semi-private course, and they had this opportunity because they were hurting at the time and they wanted to drive in new members. So they said, "Hey, once you become a member, right? You pay all the membership dues, you get all the same benefits. You still have to spend the food and beverage that like everybody else, and we're going to charge you an extra $100 a month. At the end of the year, you either take that 1,200 and apply it to your entry fee, or you walk away." Well, I joined. Like they made it a no-brainer offer for me to then join because the entry fee at that point was reduced and it just made sense to me at the time. The beauty is I got into the habit because after that, they actually changed to 3 months. And I had a couple buddies try it and they didn't join. Why? It takes time to find that golf group that you want to play with. It takes time to figure out the reservation system. It takes time to get into the habit of doing things. So if you have the luxury of being able to, like something like a gym or a membership type base, how can people, and again, how can people experience your product and or service before? For a painter, what we did was we actually did an in-home color consultation, right? It's an opportunity. It's just something a little bit different where you stand out, right? Where you can get into the home and then actually, you know, talk to them about different color palettes and everything else. That's exciting, right? They're not feeling like they're getting sold yet, right? So just know that. And again, if you have monthly recurring, hello, that would be definitely the way to go. So I hope this presentation is sort of, it's probably not a ton of new ideas, but I'm really hoping that it inspired you to want to look more at some of the things that are available. And if you're interested and if there's anything I can do to maybe market your, audit, pardon me, your marketing, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone in regards to what they're currently doing and offer them some guidance because I know that there's a lot of hot water, if you will, out there. There's a lot of these agencies that'll try and offer you all these unlimited leads and don't pay until, like, come on, they're going to charge you an upfront fee, let's be honest, and they're going to try and rope you in. I just don't believe in that at all. Like it's just a lot of your marketing has to come from you because you are the message, right? We can try and systemize that as much as we can. But yeah, there's some systemizations, automations that should happen in every business. Missed call, automatic missed call text back. How much would that be of value to you? How about increase the number of reviews that you get? And then just having somebody maybe just guide you a little bit and making sure you're set up properly and showing you the way to do it. So if that's of interest to you, and if you'd like to have a conversation with me, click on the link and jump onto my calendar and we can have a quick 45-minute marketing audit. Typically what I'll do is I'll send you over a quick form before that because I just want to take a look at your website and I want to take a look at some of the marketing. And perhaps if you're running ads, I can take a look and spy on that as well and see what you've got currently running. Anyways, like I said, I hope this was of tremendous value. I appreciate all of our small business owners out there. Um, please do what you can to help as many people as possible and do it in such a great ethical way because there's a lot of people out there, especially in the trades, man, the amount of bad rep that happens out there for so many good people. It pisses me off, if I'm being honest. And I want to help the good people get ahead. So, like I said, click on the link if you have any questions, and we will talk soon.